What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and Mother of God, we got a big one today. I woke up to messages on Twitter talking about Bobby Kotick, and I was like, what's going on here? Why is Microsoft responsible for him now? And all of a sudden, I saw that Microsoft obviously had bought Activision Blizzard, or they're going through the process. Technically, it's not going to close until the middle of next year, so we still have a full year and a couple months of everything being the same, kind of like we were in that maybe limbo state with Bethesda until Microsoft officially owned them. So nothing really changes right now. Nothing's going to change, this time next year. We really have to wait again until halfway through, somewhere around there next year before things are, officially done. But it's absolutely massive. Now, I have a lot of things to say about it. I'm going to try my best to convey it in the way I want to. But pretty much, it's almost for $70 billion. I believe it's like $68.7 billion for Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard. And so they get the entire haul. They get Diablo, they get Overwatch, they get Call of Duty, they get anything that falls under that area. Candy Crush, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, obviously quite a few big hits there throughout the lineup. Now, some, to me, Crash and Spyro. Those, I see everybody, and rightly so, talking about, what does this mean? Like, could COD actually be a Microsoft exclusive? Like, think about how impactful that would be. I'm over here just thinking about Crash Bandicoot, the future of the Bandicoot. So, because us, the fans, brought that franchise back, and then to just be a Microsoft exclusive would definitely be something. No, so that's the deal. Everything is now owned by them. Bobby Kotick, from what they're saying, is still in his leadership position. He'll report to Phil Spencer. Now, I really assume, I don't necessarily know if I fully believe, but I guess I assume, which maybe it's the same thing, that once the deal is closed, he will be bought out. He'll just be given the money and say, okay, hit the curb, and he'll be gone. If he's not, that would definitely be something special, right? Microsoft reevaluate. I love that. I love that part. That Microsoft, remember Phil Spencer said like a week or two ago, Microsoft is reevaluating its, how they deal with Activision, and so they'll buy them. That's obviously an easy, thing to do instead of dealing with them head on. So no, hopefully they solve it. I mean, I've seen articles like, basically Activision Blizzard's toxic workplace environment is now Microsoft's problem. It is. Technically, it's not yet. In another year and a half, it will be. But, that'll be really interesting to see how they handle it. In terms of, because I think everybody kind of wants to talk about the console wars, right? I think it's a valid and fair thing to do on a day like today. So what does this mean? I mean, look, you can't really... You can't do anything against this. Do you know what I mean? I honestly think you can't do anything against the Bethesda one. I mean, Bethesda was what? Wasn't Bethesda like $7 billion? So this is almost 10 times more money to buy what they just bought than what we thought was previously impossible for like a Sony to do, right? Literally impossible. Sony doesn't have, and yes, you can go into the, how exactly the money works. I guess it is technically possible that Sony could make a purchase of several billions of dollars, but it's just not really financially smart of them to do it. And that is when we were talking like in the less than 10. Now we're talking about almost 100 billion. We're closer to 100 billion than we are to 10 billion, right? Like there's no beating this. So, the idea, because I've seen people say like, Microsoft is buying its way to the top. I mean, that is definitely like an aggressive standpoint there, right? Because you're kind of accusing them that they don't have quality. I mean, you can think whatever you want. That's definitely one thing I should say, right? Think whatever you want, have whatever opinion you want. I would say, like, it's impossible to beat something like this. You can't even compete. The only thing you can do if you're Sony is just focus on yourself. I mean, truly, like, it's never been more clear, in my opinion, that you just need to continue to invest in small things and grow them from the ground, like much like they do. I mean, that's literally their philosophy. They've talked about it. And I'm not saying one way is better than another, because it's really, I mean, Microsoft now has over 30 studios, or they will have over 30 studios. You got all of Bethesda, you got all of Activision Blizzard, now that could just be a Call of Duty studio at this point, right? Maybe they'll never go back to Spyro and Crash, but, you have a lot. The only thing Sony can do is focus on, make Naughty Dog a 2 or 3, game studio where they're making like 2 or 3 games at the same time, which they are. Make Sucker Punch, the same thing. Make Sony Santa Monica. Like, that's all that's all they can really do, and then just invest in the small guys and build them up from there. And that's kind of it. In terms of them being Microsoft exclusive, we've already heard small talk. Nothing really is for sure. I know I saw Jeff Grubb say that he thinks, not that he's heard, that he thinks that something like the multiplayer stuff would stay cross-platform. So like Warzone, maybe probably like an Overwatch 2 would probably be on PlayStation as well. But like the main installment Call of Duty game, he thinks would just be on Xbox. So and if that's only on Xbox, then I assume everything else is like a Crash game no longer would be on PlayStation. A Spyro game would no longer be on PlayStation. Now again, it doesn't close for a year and a half, so they're not going to do that right now. There probably is going to be a new Spyro or Crash game that comes out before this deal closes, so those probably won't be, just Xbox exclusive because they'll come out before. But I would say, starting probably not this Call of Duty, but the next Call of Duty would probably be Microsoft exclusive. I mean, I've always pointed fun at them, and I've always gotten kind of, hit back or, pushed back on YouTube because of it in the idea that they don't believe in exclusives and they don't like it, and then they do it anyway. And then people will say, well, they're doing it's not really exclusives because they're putting it on all platforms but PlayStation or but Nintendo, right? I mean, that's still exclusive to them. It's just, what I mean? So, I'm not the biggest fan of swooping in with $70 billion. Now, you could say, well, Sony has Spider-Man, which I think is kind of laughable if you're going to use that as a comparison. People had said that back when they bought Bethesda. Well, Microsoft bought Bethesda. Oh, well, Sony has Spider-Man, so it's pretty even. I don't know how Spider-Man equals an entire, like 7, 8, 9 studios that comes with Bethesda, but I guess that's what people think. I don't really think it works now either. Well, Sony has Spider-Man. Well, Microsoft has Bethesda, and now they also have the entirety of Activision Blizzard. Is it still even, or like does Sony still have an edge because of Spider-Man, or what is it? So I've always laughed and kind of I just think that's a stupid mindset, but it's it's up for people to think how they want to think. I'm not saying this is inherently evil. I mean, I don't like monopolies, and I think this is definitely because Tencent and Microsoft at this point are just like the biggest out there. So it is getting a little terrifying that just every studio, and that's something I definitely would say I don't want. And I've actually held firm on that even with Sony for years. Like, I don't want, because I think we're approaching a time where in another 5 to 10 years, there will not be any independently owned studio. They will all be owned under probably like a blanket of 6 or 7 groups, like there's EA, Ubisoft, Warner Bros, which probably that eventually gets merged into, Discovery, but that probably changes at some point. I imagine they could be bought. Square Enix, Sony, Microsoft, you'll have things like the Embracer Group, but you're not going to really have anything independent, and then Microsoft could just buy some of those bigger ones, and then they're all under Microsoft, or Tencent, because Tencent every day buys like 500 studios, so, I don't like that future. That's something I will say. I definitely don't like that future, and Microsoft is not helping. They're definitely going in that direction. I also really don't like, and I've talked about this before on my second channel. They're talking about like the Metaverse. They mentioned it multiple times in the excerpt of why they're doing this. Is part of it is to build the foundation of the Metaverse. I'm very much opposed to the idea of Metaverse. I think it's bad, very, very bad, and I can go in more details in other videos, but I'm never a fan of that. So if Sony said that, if anybody said that, I'd be violently opposed to that, and that's just my opinion. So huge day. I have a Series X, so I'm good. I'm fine in another 2 years when things start to really, you'll need, you'll need a PlayStation for certain games. You'll need an Xbox for certain games. I'm good. I'm sure a lot of people are good. I'm sure a lot of people will get good because they'll get both the consoles eventually. So it's definitely a big day for Microsoft. I'm not a fan of just dropping almost $100 billion to swoop up one of the biggest, corporations on the face of the earth, but that's the way it is. And it definitely should help. If this doesn't sell Series X's, if this doesn't increase Game Pass subscribers, I don't know what will. I truly don't understand what will. They're at 25 million. That's kind of low. The growth isn't exactly what they had wanted or expected. It needs to go higher. I love it. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I think it's actually the best deal out there. And I've had it I've had it for almost a full year now. So I'm really happy with it. I'm going to continue to use it, but I just think, it needs to continue to grow. And if this doesn't grow it, I don't know. Maybe them buying Nintendo next will do it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. All my other social media is in the description below if you guys want to check it out. My Twitter, my second channel, my Patreon, and YouTube memberships. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.